Believe it or not, this is a PlayStation. It's called the PSX, and when it launched in 2003, it was the most badass overkill machine for your living room that money could buy. And now, I finally have one. Only this one's partially working, but I think I can fix that. So in this video, I want to talk about what made the PSX so cool and to see if I could bring this console back to life. Let's jump right in. For all intents and purposes, the PSX really is just a normal PlayStation 2, but in a much bigger shell and with more features. And before anyone brings it up, yes, the term PSX was used as a nickname for the PlayStation 1, but this is the real PSX. It has the Emotion Engine chip and graphics synthesizer to let you play all of your PS1 and PS2 games, and even has 2 memory card slots and the 2 controller ports on the back to hook up your DualShocks, just like a normal PlayStation 2. But in reality, the PSX was more than just a game console. It was meant to be your home media center. Of course, with a disk drive, you can play both CDs and DVDs, but the PSX also allowed you to watch and record your favorite TV shows. That's due to the fact that this system has a bunch of inputs on it, from RCA to a bunch of coax, and it also has a large built-in hard drive. They came configured with anywhere between 160 to 256 gigs of storage all the way back in 2003, which was a lot back then. And of course, if not for using your PSX as a TV DVR, you could use that extra hard drive space to rip your whole library of CDs or stow all of your downloaded movies. All of this to say that the PSX was clearly aimed at media junkies that wanted the best of the best in their living rooms. I mean, look at the back of this thing. That's just a stupid amount of I/O. This is some serious hardware. All of this functionality is cool and all, but as a Sony nerd, what really gets me going about the PSX is that this is the first time the company ever used the Cross Media Bar, or XMB. It's most known for being the home interface for the PSP, the PS3, and a bunch of Sony's TVs in the late 2000s, but where it all started was the PSX. However, for as cool as this whole package is, unfortunately, it never saw any commercial success. Turns out that overkill home theater boxes are very hard to sell, and this one was expensive at that. When the PSX debuted in 2003, it retailed for a whopping 80,000 yen or $800 US. Oof. Yikes. And while Sony was ultimately planning on releasing the PSX in markets like North America, poor sales ultimately led them to pull back. However, that doesn't stop me from loving what this machine is all about. And to appreciate it in the best possible way, let's figure out what's wrong with this thing and go and fix it. Now, if you're familiar with us at Overclock Media, you might have seen Austin Evans do a segment on this in his Sendico video where he paid $170 at auction for it. Unfortunately, in that video, we found out that the disk drive doesn't work. It does boot up and show us the XMB, but unfortunately, as a PS2 in its current state, it is not working. Inside of here, there are 2 lasers. The first one is a standard DVD reader, which also burns discs as well. But what this standard laser does is verify what kind of disc gets inserted into the PSX. And if it realizes that a PlayStation game is inserted, then it'll fire up the second laser, which is more akin to one that you'd find on an actual PS2. My working hypothesis right now is that the first laser, the one that does all of that verification to tell the PSX what kind of disc you have in here, is the one that's failing, since we couldn't even get a DVD video to load up. So I'm gonna take this thing apart and we'll try to do some surgery. Before we continue on with the video, I want to take a moment to thank today's sponsor, Squarespace. Squarespace is the all-in-one platform for building a website for your personal brand or business. With a variety of stylish templates and plenty of options for customization, making a website that's truly your own is a breeze. And that can make a world of difference when it comes to engaging your audience. Whether you are selling your own products, showcasing your portfolio to prospective clients, or simply making a landing page for your project. Whatever the need, Squarespace has you covered and will even help you set up a custom domain with just a few clicks. If you're interested in checking them out and supporting the content we do here on Denki, head over to squarespace.com/Denki. There, you can try out the service for free, and if you like what you see, they'll give you 10% off your first purchase of a domain or website. Thank you so much to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video, and now back to fixing our PSX. In order to do transplant surgery on our disk drive, we need a donor. And this right here is a period correct DVD burner from 2004. What's really annoying about the PSX is that it's pretty finicky if you need to do any repairs or replacements on it. The disk drive replacement actually requires specific lasers that are typically found in burners like this from 2004 from Sony, or light-on drives from PowerBook G5s. Those are the only two places that you can find them. Luckily, there were a handful of posts on Reddit and some PlayStation forums of people working on their PSX, which proved helpful for preparing for this video. However, for the sake of the content, I want to go in a little blind. There's a huge part of me that wants to be surprised with what the PSX has in store, though hopefully I won't regret this. So I think I'm just gonna jump right in. So let's open up the PSX over here. In theory, one laser should look identical to the one on my burner, and that's the one I'm going to be taking out. I'm kind of intimidated by opening up a PSX because I haven't even opened up a PS2, much less a special PS2. After playing what seemed like whack-a-mole, undoing a bunch of screws under the PSX, so smelled a little bit like Grandma Agnes in there. Next time, Grandpa Charles should stay in the urn. Ugh. Okay, well, maybe I shouldn't spend time cleaning it now if we don't even know what the condition of this console is. Where I want to put my dust bunnies somewhere. Okay, well, at least the actual component parts look pretty clean, actually. Let's see if we can hone in on our disk drive. Yeah, buddy. It took a little bit to figure out how to get the covers off of the PSX. That is the power supply. Let's not touch that. But eventually. All right, and our PSX is opened up. We have our disk drive over here, the power supply, which we certainly will not touch. And we also have our hard drive. We're not gonna touch that, but I do want to note that these things are also a ticking time bomb. These things are actually firmware locked, so you actually need to source other drives from a PSX in order to have them work with this machine. So if a drive goes wrong on your PSX, it's not the easiest thing to replace as well. So I want to do some backups and stuff and make sure that if this thing dies, my PSX isn't just DOA, or not dead on arrival, it would be dead again. No, dead, just dead. But regardless, let's get to our disk drive. How? What made the PSX particularly hard to deal with was the annoying amount of screws hidden in plain sight. It's clear that Sony didn't want you messing around with this console whatsoever. But eventually, the disk drive is free. Oh my God, there's so much dust. Okay, so the disk drive is out. Let's hope it wasn't for naught. Let's grab at these screws. Here we go. All right. If I had to hazard a guess, the big Sony one is the PlayStation one, and this is our first laser, the one that does all of the verification. In order to find out though, let's take apart our donor drive and see what's in here. And here is our laser. So let's try to take this apart even further. I want to actually free this. After some further disassembly, our donor drive is almost good to go. And I can confirm that the laser on this guy is the same as the one on our PSX. I'm really happy that that's the case because different versions of the PSX have different lasers that go to them as well. Now the only thing that I have to do is figure out how to do the transplant itself. And so I pushed further. I figured out how to get the donor laser off its track. Ayo! I'm so smart. Then I was going to figure out how to get the laser off the PSX when something weird happened. What? What? There's an SD. There's an SD. What? Wait, what? Where did... This thing does not have an SD card slot just buried in here, right? This is some shenanigans. What is happening? I swear to God, I did not contrive that. Literally, I just was like, what is rattling inside, and an SD card fell out? Did someone insert an SD card into the drive bay by accident? It's just 3 files. It's literally just some dude's renovation photos.
What were they taking?
In March of 2006. Cool.
That's awesome.
That's a thing. Wow. I mean, when you pay $180 for a random PSX on Sendico that has no quality to speak of whatsoever, sometimes you will find random stuff.
Yeah, it's a bonus buy.
Grandma Agnes and her house. All right, but let's get back on track. We have a PSX to fix. All right, so we've separated the laser chassis, if you will, and there are these 2 retention screws that we have to take off that hold in our rails. It should be a cakewalk now. Rail off. Look at that. Isn't it cool when things work? There we go. Okay. Okay. We're good now. Old laser. We're putting it off to the side. New laser. Let's put it in. This should just be as easy as sliding it back on. One rail only goes on the track properly, then the other one is just kind of sitting on there, so sick. There we go. It is on there. All right. We're getting somewhere. Okay. All right, so ribbon cable is now in. This drive should be good to go.
We did it.
Well, we'll see if it works. We have to reassemble it. Now at this point, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's a sprint to put the PSX all back together to find out if our efforts were all worth it. All right, so the PSX is mostly together. I haven't put the shells on yet because I want to make sure that it boots on and does everything we want it to do. Let's power it on and see if we did a good job or not, because I don't tear things apart that often. Hard drive spinning up, power is on. Let's make sure our TV is fired up. Video 1. Not the best sign. Maybe it's doing some kind of reset. Let me plug into other RCAs and see if that is our problem. No video on that one. No video on that one either. Okay.
Plugging in that ribbon cable at the top, it might need to make a circuit.
So what that attaches to is this top plate. At this point, I'm willing to try anything to make this work. The other thing too is that this is annoying to put back on. You know what? I'm just gonna rest this on here. I'm not gonna properly seat it in case we have to get back into the console, but I think we should be good enough to plug this in again. Oh, okay. So we got some lights. So the ribbon cable is doing its thing. The light's static. Okay. So, hit the button. That's doing new stuff. Oh, let's go.
Yo.
Bro? We're plugged into video. Nope.
Oh.
Rookie mistake. Don't do it to me. Come on, man. This thing is clearly on. Okay, so I turn it off. Let me try to turn it on again.
Yo!
Hello? Okay, so we didn't royally break it.
All we had to do was just turn it on and off, right?
Well, when you say it like that, you know, in hindsight, yes. Yeah, we should have done that to begin with. Okay, but we have a loading screen here, so it is properly working. I want to get us into the XMB. Wait. Oh, here we go. Okay. We have the XMB. Well, I'm still recording TV. Let's try to play a DVD first. To test this, I have a CD and DVD here, but we'll just use the DVD. This is from one of my favorite J-pop artists, Supercell. Just be careful here. Let's put it in. Okay, well, the motor's not taking it.
Oh, no.
Please? Pretty please? Okay, well, yeah, I don't think that's functioning. Whatever we did, I think kind of messed with the motor. At the very least, the console still powers on. And I kind of do want to go back into the disk drive to see if we can repair the motor. For me, that's almost not worth it at this stage. I kind of want to count my blessings in that this console does work. All right, pause. You know when people say always trust your gut? Well, it turns out there's a reason for that. You see, shortly after this bit, I decided to open up the PSX again to see if I could rectify the situation with our disk drive. And things ended up taking a turn for the worst. Man, I spent way too long on this. It's like 9:45 in the evening, and I think I've hit the point where I've actually done the thing I didn't want to do, which is kill the console. This thing, for some reason, is not powering on anymore, and I think it's because I accidentally snagged one of the ribbon cables. It is just mangled to hell, and I tried to put it back in, but now it just won't power on. Man, I should have just left it. I should have just left it the way it was. It also doesn't help that I was a big idiot and realized way too late on how to take off the side panels on here so that I could easily take the bottom and top shell off. So I could have probably saved myself some hardware pain. I'm just not in a good spot. Ugh. For shame. Fuck, man. Well, it's hard to say what specifically broke with our PSX. I, at least for myself, can learn a little more patience, care, and at least can be a little more prepared when it comes to taking apart consoles. There's no doubt that the PSX would have had a better shot at life otherwise. Also, with the benefit of hindsight, I think I could have switched around my order of operations. I was planning on doing software mods after fixing the disk drive, but I really should have done that before the hardware fix. In theory, that would have allowed me to force the PSX to try reading the PS2 discs directly instead of relying on that DVD verification. Of course, there's no way to tell if that would have worked, but it's frustrating that we'll never know. And on that disappointment, thank you so much for watching this episode on Denki channel, and now I'm gonna cry myself to sleep.